Enhance your listening.
Check out all. We keep it moving with the Kim Show. It's time for a change with Sherry and Mignon. 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then, in the end, we win with Curtis. To 9:15 p.m. on Tuesdays, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Start your afternoon with the Wealth Zone with Raymond Starks. Then it's Cooking with Flavors with Chef Flavors, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And treat yourself right with My Spa Bath and Body, hosted by Margaret Harris, 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Up next is Slick Daddy Rick, Heartbeat Congo Hour, rocking from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then on Wednesdays, you can't miss Impact the World with Cheryl Woods, 12 noon to 2 p.m. And then from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., we got Slick Talk with Oscar D and It's the Kid. Then from 8 to 9 p.m., we crank it up with Live Set Wednesdays, hosted by Reg Gaskins. And after that, 9:15 to 10:15 p.m., the BGKH Show with Dominion and Epic. And check out our Thursday lineup, starting with You, Math, and Me, hosted by George Randall, from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Then from 7 to 9 p.m., the 640 Evening Show with DJ 640. And on Fridays, we start out with Peace in the Morning Show with Darius A. Stan, co-host Delicate Daryl Barnes, and Queen of Sudabed, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. From 10:30 to 11:30, the Hall Street Journal with Robert Hall and co-host Clarence Sanders. And after that, you know we gotta check in with Chanel's 3 Cents, 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Up next, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., Daryl Allen Hairston II Crime Victims Foundation Show with your host, Daryl Hairston. Then, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is The Rush Hour with DJ Drew and Janique. And from 9:15 to 11:15 p.m., you can't miss Different Mind Show with Bam 640 and DJ Andre Michael, co-host Hillary Banks. Then, start out your Saturday mornings with the Healer Blues Show, hosted by Ron Jackson. After that, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m., the Hour of Power with Reverend Winters Rogers. Then, from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, it's time for prayer, praise, and deliverance with Elder Thurman Gorman Jr. Four Sisters Live Talk, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Then every second Saturday, listen to Turning Dreams into Reality Talk Show with Tashika L. Green, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. After that, from 3 to 4 p.m., we walk in newness 24/7 with Missionary Antoinette. And don't miss, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., News, ULM News and Analysis, Information, Sports, Black History, with your host, news anchor Roderick Carter Willis, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Then, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., it's time for DJ Rick, the CEO of Step Your Game Up, the Youth Project, co-hosted by DJ Main and DJ Lohefe. And then, at 7:45 to 8:45 p.m., it's time for the Fantastic Live Show with MC Fran. And starting out on Sundays, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I am Dr. Sharon Show.
Good evening. How you doing? Welcome to PTP, People to People, Power to Power, Positive Thinking People. I'm really excited today. This is the first show airing, and I have three beautiful guests here today. We're going to be focusing on some, basically, the things that they've done, these black females whom are very powerful in their own way, and they're going to be sharing some information with you. But I first want to just say that this is a program to empower you, me, and them. So I don't want it to be something that's going to be focusing on one individual thing. So it's just very important that you know that this is all about all of us. And I'm going to, first of all, just kind of like introduce Miss Erner. I think I'm saying this right.
You're right.
Ernstine. This is Miss Ernstine. Before you say something, Miss Ernstine, and this is Miss Alice William, and this is Miss Tina Curl. Okay, and I'm really, really excited about this because this is something I've been looking forward to for a while. It's a journey. And then I got to stop for a minute because I've got to first say, giving honor to God.
Praise God.
I have to say that. Without God, nothing is possible.
Right.
And I truly want to make sure that I do not ever forget to put Him first in anything that I do. I'm looking forward to this thing just blowing up where we all are going to be seeing some real serious positive things happen in each one of our lives. Okay? And Miss Ernstine.
Let me explain my name.
Okay.
Let me explain my name, all right? My name is Erna. You got a pause, and then the Steen. See, the name came from when I was born. The doctors came in, went to my mama, and said, "What you going to name the baby?" She said Erna, and then she had a little contraction. She paused, so the Steen. So it's Erna, count to three.
One, two, three.
Steen. So you got to do it with me.
Okay.
Okay, what's my name is?
Erna
Steen.
That's what I'm talking about.
So can I call you Miss Steen?
That's fine.
Okay. So Miss Steen, basically, so where you from?
I'm from Washington, D.C. I live in Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Okay. And you have a profession?
Yes, I do. I work for the government part-time.
Okay. And outside of that, then what do you do?
I have a mind ministry. I have a comedy ministry. I have a praying for you ministry. I got a lot of ministries.
I see.
The actions speak louder than words. Because actions do speak louder. Would you agree?
Yes,
they
right.
do.
Yes.
They do.
We got some action going on right here.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
Speak loud.
Okay, that's right. So your ministry, is it something that you do to empower people? Is this with this? Can you tell me kind of?
Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words. Through my mind ministry, there's no speaking. So my actions actually speak through you. The Holy Spirit drops on me. I'm an anointed woman of God. Mm-hmm. And what He does, He speaks through my body, which in turn ministers to you. And if you'd like to see some of that, I will be ministering this Saturday at the Public Playhouse.
Oh, that's all right.
It's at 7 o'clock with a play called The Silent Scream.
Okay. And one of the things that I want to make sure that we project to the audience, how did you get started?
Well, one day I woke up, I think I was about 12 years old, and I enjoyed singing, but that's not my profession. And I enjoy acting. Mm-hmm. And so as a child, I would put on skits and write plays and produce them. And as I became older, I started to mime, and I never actually took a training in it. And through that ministry, I don't practice. I just listen to the song, and God takes all my movements. So it's not routine. You can give me a song, God has put me in a room, and He uses my body.
And you just take it from there.
Just take it from there. And half the time I don't even know what I'm doing, but when it's over, it's powerful.
So in this area, we have quite a few individuals who like to be into entertainment, and I see that that's what you was born to do. I always said that stars were not created, they were born.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
right?
I totally agree with that.
So,
yes.
so what I'm saying is, what advice would you give to some of the young people that's out here trying to get into some of the things that you're doing as far as the ministry, and where they'll be able to minister to other people and be able to show some positive outcomes on their performances and talents?
Follow your heart, follow your dreams, and if it's your ministry, it will come easy. It's not something that you have to spend a lot of time at. It just comes natural, like a musician that picks up a piano or an instrument. It just comes natural. And my ministry is it's a natural thing. I just do it. God is good.
All the time. All the time. And that's what one of the things that I wanted people to really realize is that when you have a love for something, you have to follow it. Follow your dream. You have to follow your talent. Many people are born with the skills to draw and sing and dance and speak and write. And a lot of times what we do is we get caught up in a system where we do not encourage these things to our youth enough. And it's important for us to encourage them to show their natural talents. And as we go on, I'm going to definitely let these two young ladies speak on their talents as well. By Miss Ernstine. I definitely, was just impressed when I first met you, and all the things that you're doing. And if I could just be really, really blunt, I want to see many, many young people in this area. In the DMV, we have a lot of talent.
I totally agree.
Right?
Yes, we do.
And we got to get to the point where we are able to support one another and do these things on a level, just like being here at VoxWave.com.
Yes.
This is a very, very powerful situation where we're getting ready to do a lot of networking. We got some powerful things coming down, and by you being one of my first guests, I'm so excited. And again, you're going to be performing this weekend coming up?
Yes, at the Public Playhouse, June 9th at 7 o'clock.
Y'all know I got to throw this plug in June 9th.
It's my birthday.
It's my birthday. Yeah, that's right. Large in shirt. I think it's 42 in jacket.
Just throw it out there.
I just thought I might just throw it out there. Crocodiles, size 10. Right. But so again, is there a message that you really would like to relay to the people who's watching today? It's something that you can tell them and encourage them.
Follow your heart, follow your dream, and the gift you think you may have, it may not be the gift that God has given you. You may have a talent in building buildings, but you say, I don't like it, but that's your gift. And you may want to be a singer, but God's giving you the gift to build. So what I would say to you in the book of Mark 4:23, if anyone has an ear, let them hear. So hear the word and move forward. And don't be afraid, because God does not give the spirit of fear. Just walk through your calling.
Oh, that is powerful.
God.
That's powerful.
That's awesome.
Ladies, if y'all have any questions for Miss...
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say, your point about following your dreams is so true, but really understanding your gifts. I always wanted to be a singer, but I can't carry a tune. So I'm one of those that sing in the shower every day. And so I sound good in the shower. I don't know why, but as soon as I get out and I try to sing in public, it's like, you can't even carry a tune. But no, your point is absolutely correct in terms of knowing your gifts. I know God has given everybody gifts, and you just got to understand how to tap into those gifts. When you tap into those gifts, He will show you the way. And so, I respect your gift. It's just a blessing. I'm going to try to catch your play as well. And it's just a pleasure to be here on the panel with you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I wanted to say sometimes you do not know what it is that you're trying to do and what you want to do. And sometimes it may take someone else to see something within you, and they will encourage you, and they will bring that out within you, and then a light bulb may come on, and you go, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. So sometimes it's not always instantaneous, or it may not be natural, but when you know, you know.
Right. Yeah. And I know I'll get my turn at some point. But to your point, I was ordained as an ordained minister in July 2010.
Okay.
I set myself down, so I know better. When you know better, you do better. So I'm currently set down. But it took my pastor, she's a female pastor, and I give a shout out to Rock of Salvation Church, Pastor Johnson, Dolores Johnson, who is my pastor and my friend. But it was her who said, daughter, you have gifts. And, and I fought, ministry for a very long time. I wanted to do me. I wanted to go out to the club. I didn't want to help anybody and, tell them what's right and wrong. I just wanted to just do me. But it took me a while, and I was practically forced into ministry. And because I fought so hard, God had to continue to show me exactly what my place was. So I have a gift of prophecy. Had no idea what it even was when I was told that. I have a gift of servanthood. So you see, I understand that because I give a lot and I like to serve. So I do that very well. But I fought it for a very long time. And so to your point, sometimes it does take someone that you trust that shows you what your gifts are. Right. And it takes a long time sometimes to accept that you really do have those gifts. And it took me a long, even now I fight. Like, I have to constantly say I was ordained in, July 10th, 2010. I constantly have to say that, that I've been called, and I can never forget that I've been called, that my job is to help everybody. And whether I walk into a club or whether it's on the street or wherever it is, my job is to be able to make sure that I'm doing God's will.
How about that?
Right.
So that's the gift of discernment. There.
Absolutely.
Because everybody ain't for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you have to make sure that you are talking to the right people that can, help you along the way.
You just said one of the key words, people. As we all know, that PTP, that's people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. This is what I'm talking about just at this panel right here. We are talking about things where, each one of us as people are giving back to people. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And the power that we possess is what it elevates, like through your gifts, through your businesses, and the things that we share with one another. And then the positive thinking people, hey, that's what I'm talking about. All of us that encourage one another to do the right thing,
that's right.
And that's just amazing. And we got to keep throwing God in there, because God has just put these visions out here where he's saying, this is what I want you to do. It's not all the time what you want, but it's what I want you to do.
That's right.
And as a lot of people, when they get into their skills, and like I said, stars are not created. They're born.
That's right.
Yes.
A lot of people think that you have to make a star. No. All you have to do is sit back and look at your child, look at your grandchild, look at your cousin or your sister or your brother, and you will see that they have skills. And then, like you said, some people will see it in them before they see it in themselves.
For sure.
Right? And then what we need to do is just encourage them.
Right.
And Ms. Ernestine, I did say it correctly, didn't I? So you definitely from the DMV. And so again, what I would like to do is just make sure that we're making it very, very easy for people to follow. If it's anybody that's doing comedian or they want to get into this type of stuff, is there anything that you could do to help them, and you can send them in the right direction?
Yes, you can give me a call, or you can email me at dndgroup1@live.com. That's D for David, N for Nancy, D for David, group, GROUP, the number 1@live.com.
That's right. And you do write plays as well.
Absolutely. Just did a play at Redeemed Christian Fellowship in Capitol Heights, Maryland, at my church called The Sacrifice. It was awesome.
Right, that's good. That's good. I'm looking so forward to being able to participate in some of the things that we've had a chance to talk outside of here, and I'm really excited about doing some networking with you. And some years ago, I have a company called Photo Time and Production, and what we did was we did showcasing, and it was for the youth. Basically, to open doors for them. Matter of fact, I have a real history. My history is real with some of these young ladies right here. When I say, because they know we kind of known each other ever since we were little. And the good thing is that we all seen each other grow.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just so blessed to be in a position to see us moving forward and
absolutely.
helping each
Yes.
other. You know, Ms. Ernestine, you know, when I was talking to you, and I know you're a little older than me,
Yeah, it's much older.
you know, but being age ain't got nothing to do with it.
They
Right?
had nothing to do with it.
That's what I'm talking about. So again, you know, what I would like anybody out there who's watching, if you have any talent around you, hey, let them do what they do. You know, don't curve them in the wrong direction. We don't have a problem with exposing our kids to the negativity or letting them get caught up in the system. And we got to be very, very careful with that.
Right.
Because again, if we don't open these doors for them, we're going to have a problem. This is what this is all about. This is one reason why I just thought about it. I had to come in and do some business here, and I found out that this was a studio that was available for me to start a platform of moving forward and helping some people. This is not about me, you know. This is about us. You know, and I just know that God has already said it. This is going to just take off, and we're going to be doing some real positive things. I am so excited about that. Again, you know, you have the play that you already written. How many plays have you done?
20 plus, several.
Okay,
several
but
plays.
have you
That's
written
awesome.
all of them?
Yes, I've written all.
Oh, okay, that is so good. That's good. So, did you go to school for writing?
I did not. I actually went to Suitland High School. I was in the theater area. I graduated from Bowie State University, but no.
And see, now see there again. I guess my point would be, a lot of times people think, and don't get me wrong when I say this, a lot of people think that you have to go to school to get these skills. Right. If you're born with a skill and you pray on it and you nurture it, then the skill will take care of you. It'll develop on its own. You know what I mean?
I do.
And so, you know, that's the other thing that I would want a lot of people to know. We got to get out of this systematic way of living where we're letting people dictate how we go about doing the things that we are good at, you know? And like I said again, stars are not made, they're born. And so what we have to do is just acknowledge them, you know, and definitely make sure that we're opening the doors for anyone who's trying to get into the field. So I'm going to throw this at you as well. Company Phototime and Production, we do showcasing, artist development, we mentor. Definitely, I have a panel here of some very powerful women who's done some real powerful things in the community, outside the community, abroad, and some more stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm really meaning that to a level where, you know, I just stood back and just felt very, very blessed that I had the opportunity to know y'all and see y'all grow up and become the women that you are. And,
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's a blessing.
I mean that's what's real powerful. Right. And again, what I'm saying is that I just want to make sure that everything we do is to empower other people.
Absolutely, for sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I would like to just piggyback also on your comment and your comment. At one point in my life, my gift was dormant. I did a little, but not a lot. And at the church home I was at, I wasn't able to really use my gifts the way that I would have liked to. And the church that I'm at now, which is Redeemed Christian Fellowship in Capitol Heights, Maryland, my pastor, First Lady, noticed my gift and let me operate in my gift.
Praise
and
God for that.
Blew from there. And so it's a blessing to be a part of a church home as such.
that's something that I'm not going to talk about church too much. Because I know, and let me,
it's okay.
You know,
it's okay.
No, I got to keep it real
Right.
because
So I got to talk about it.
Yeah. But see, one of the things I just know that, you know, fellowship and not all the time has to be in church. You can do it, you know, 2, 3, 5, or 5,000. But what I do is just I definitely want to make sure that I always give honor to God. And I'm going to give a shout out to a pastor who's just an amazing guy who has really helped me. His name is Pastor Haskins. And I know I pronounced it correctly because he's a family member. But if I didn't, he's going to get me. But him and First Lady Diane, it's amazing on the conversations that I've had with them that they have just blessed me with prayer and just believing into, you know, a lot of things that I've been wanting to do. They'll pray on it and say, go on about your business. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to them. You know, it's just really a good thing to just know that all of us have God first.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. Can't do anything without him. That's for sure.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Ernestine, is there anything else? Like, do you take up collections and all like that?
No collection. But just be obedient to the
Right.
ushers at your church. Be obedient. And when you come to my church, I'm going to tell you about yourself.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, that's that. So you one of those ladies that when you come in, you make them pull the pants up, fix the tie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't do that grandma thing where they go.
Oh,
you know, do you
I
remember
that. Oh,
I remember that.
oh, no.
You know,
And wipe your face.
yeah, right.
that.
You don't do that. You discipline the children when they come in, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I take them to the ward.
The ward room.
War.
Ward. I mean,
Oh, war.
Oh, okay. And you I mean, how is
I
it?
pray over.
Oh, you do a hard prayer.
Very hard.
I know that's what's important, that we definitely keep that prayer in there too, and that's some of the things that, again, you know, as we think about what we're doing and moving forward, you know, it's important for us to make sure we keep that involved. I'm just again excited to have y'all here on my panel.
Thank you.
Miss Tina
Thanks
Carroll,
for inviting us.
Miss Alice Williams,
Absolutely. Thank you.
and Miss Ern. Oh wait a minute,
Nope.
Ern
1, 2, 3.
Steen.
There you go.
There you go. I'm only proud.
That is so that, yeah, it's just amazing. And, you know, again, like I said, this is all about, you know, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. You know, when I use that, everything that we do is people dealing with people, you know. And when we get to a point where we understand what we're doing and how we're doing it, it becomes a real powerful thing.
Sure.
Okay, so when it becomes powerful, that is the power, right? And that power that we possess is what moves us forward. Now, you got to understand there's a negative and a positive.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
So we got the negative and positive power, and when we use the positive power, we overpower the negative.
That's right.
And then that leads us to, after we get in that positive power mode, what happens? We get that positive thinking people,
That's
which
right.
just comes out to be PTP.
I think he's advertising.
Yeah, you know that. That's right. Throwing
That's
it in
okay.
there.
If you don't know by now,
You will. You're right. That's right.
you will by the end of this show.
So you have any kids, Ms.
Yes,
Ernestine?
I do. I have 3.
Oh, so do I.
And I have a grandbaby.
Oh.
Wow.
June the 1st.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
Edwards Jr.
Nice.
Congratulations.
That is so cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So is this your first grandchild?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
Lord. We talk about something
Yeah.
just getting ready to get a baby.
It's a
getting ready to be-
different kind of love.
Everything's changed.
A different kind of love.
Yes. Yes.
How about you, Miss Alice?
Kids?
Well, grandchildren.
Oh, absolutely. I have 2 beautiful grandkids. I'm fortunate I have a young grandson. His name is Corday. Most people know him by Handsome. He's very popular
Aww.
in the DMV. He's an advocate basketball player, plays at AU. And so he has his own little following. You know, I walk down the street with him, they be like, hey, Handsome. Like, how he know them? I also have a beautiful granddaughter. Her name is Yuri. Very brilliant young lady, bright personality. She just turned 3. As a matter of fact, I had her over the weekend. It changed my life. No, I have 2 wonderful grandkids and 3 beautiful kids. Yeah.
And Miss Carol,
Yes.
how many grandchildren do you
I
have?
have 2 granddaughters. Anaya, Camille. She will be 8 actually next month. And then I have a 3.5-year-old granddaughter by the name of Cody Rose.
Okay.
Or we call her Cody
Okay,
Co.
Cody.
Cody Co.
And you know I got to throw it in there. I have 6, right?
Oh, my.
Yeah, I have 3 boys and 3 girls. My girls is my oldest girl. Her name is Mila, but I call her Nana Nuki Nu. And one time she said, "Lolo, why you call me Nana? Nana is like an old person name," but that's what I do. Whenever I have them around me, I just, whatever comes out is with sticks. And then I have Morgan, who is my second oldest of the girls. She's amazingly, just phenomenal little lady. And then I also have Megan. We call her Mama. And as you know, have called her nickname Mama, you can imagine. She's something else too.
She's something, that's for sure.
And then I also have my three grandsons, Xavier and Kamari. And then I got Lil Man. Lil Man is the youngest. He's about 6-7 months. Well, yeah. I got to make sure. I might have just got in trouble. Being he's the youngest, I haven't really had the opportunity to have him around me as much. But that's what I'm doing right now, is trying to build a legacy for my grandchildren.
That's right. You better.
That's
what it's about.
I'm just determined to move forward, that when the grandchildren see us, they'll know. And that's something else that I probably would bring up real quick. I know you're a little older than me.
Yes.
But 25? Okay. Oh, okay, I got you. But I'm sure that we all know that a lot of things we weren't exposed to coming up. But now we, for our grandkids to see this, and your new grandson to see you and to be able to know that, he can take his personal skills and elevate them, that's going to be amazing, So I'm sure when he gets old enough and he say, Grandma, who is Miss Steen? You just told him to say, hold on, wait a minute, let me go, I'll be right back, and then bring on out.
Absolutely.
And as well as you two young ladies, I mean, I'm sure that it's going to be phenomenal what they're going to see.
Yes.
Again, that's just something that I carry very dear to my heart. That we always make sure that we look out for them.
Absolutely.
Opening the door for them to see us
Absolutely.
move forward.
Yes.
This is a whole different platform for us.
Sure.
Our parents, if they were sitting right in the audience with all other people out there, right? And they was looking at us, they'd be saying, you know what? Y'all crazy. Who y'all think y'all are to be sitting doing what you're doing?
Right.
But we also are blessed, and we also listen to what God put in our ear for us to move forward and to know that, it's all about us just following our dreams and doing what we do best to keep us alive, happy, and well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not doing the 9 to 5 all the time.
Right.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And that's when, you'll find out that, again, you'll find out what talents you have.
That's for sure.
You know? So what I'm hoping for is to make sure that I get you to come back.
Yeah.
And when you do come back, I want you to come back and tell me how this last play, because the one that you're going to do Saturday, you didn't write that.
No, I did not write that.
So we're going to give a shout out to the writer.
Roxanne Reed of Southern Girl Productions.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
And is she from here?
Yes, she is.
Oh, okay. And what is the play about?
Mental illness.
Oh, my.
Oh, that's gonna
be good.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
that's gonna be good. Yeah, and see that's the other thing that it's something that I thought. I'm just glad you said that. So we go to church, and some people assume every time you do anything, they got to be all serious all the time.
Right.
But God don't have a problem with you laughing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Actually
not.
has a sense of humor.
Yes.
Right. And for us to do these things, this is what we're supposed to do. In order for us to expand, we have to get to a position where we don't work under pressure all the time. We can do it with laughter and get our praise on and show each other that support. Because a lot of times when you go to church, you be thinking that you got to be real, real, real serious.
Right.
But, I remember some years ago, we always used to have to dress up, right? Now you can go in blue jeans or whatever.
You can. Come as you are.
Come as you are. And so let me ask you this. Had you ever thought about becoming a minister?
Well,
Okay, now.
had a couple of people to tell me that that's why I'm headed.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
into the
praise
ministry?
God.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Pastor, you were listening. He's one of them.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Well, that's something that, again, I think also a lot of us find ourselves ministering in different ways. You don't have to be in the pulpit to do that. we got many people out here who help people on a regular basis who are ministering to
absolutely.
different people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that again we have to acknowledge when we see people moving forward. We got to get out and encourage them.
Yes.
You know, if a young man walked in and he had his pants hanging down and and he was using profanity and all this type of stuff, well, how would you address him?
That's Ernestine or Darlene?
Let me go.
Determine it. Which one?
Well, how about Miss Ernestine first? How was she handled?
I'll pull him over, speak to him at church out on the street. I need you to set it up for me.
Okay, well, I'm gonna set it up that he came into the church.
Different strokes for different folks.
Okay, in the church.
In the church, okay. He's walking in the church. First, I tell him come in for a minute. And you know the mints that be at the door.
Mm-hmm.
I tell him get a mint. Because there's something about mints. Mint soup.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of the mint. They for the breath, but it's really a peace. It brings a calmness, okay? So I tell him get a mint. So come on, we'll talk to you. Take him to the little room. I said, now, do you know God? And if you tell me you know God, then I said, well, then what would Jesus do? Look at you. I pull out my little mirror. I keep a little pocket mirror. I pull out my little mirror. I said, now look at this mirror. Now, the person you see is that you. And a lot of times when you look in the mirror, if you don't see who you are, because you will see who you are. And if who you are is not who you should be, then you need to change. You need to talk to God and ask God to reveal to you who you are. And 9 times out of 10, that young man will look at himself and say, that's not me. And before we leave out that war room, he done fixed his head or pulled them pants up.
That's right. That's
ate
right.
that mint,
That's right.
and then went on in the church.
Yes.
That's how I do it. So remember now, it's something in the mints.
Something in the mints.
Something in the mints. So I pray a lot of mints.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and how would Miss Darlene handle it?
You want me to do that right? It's like, no.
That's right.
No, Darlene. You know that song, Darlene? Darlene, the radio. No, honestly, I would just tell the brother, and I would tell him, depending on the age, come here, young man, let me talk to you. What would Jesus do? Same thing.
Yes.
Look at yourself. Who are you? And then I would tell him, you a king. You are not that person. You are a king. You are somebody. You can be somebody.
That's right.
You do have the capability. I would just speak life into them, because a lot of them don't have life.
Yeah.
And they never heard that
And a
before.
lot of them are walking dead.
Yeah.
So I just try to bring them back up and lift their head up. That's what Darlene would do.
That's amazing. What I used to do, I had and still do, but when I was doing production in Old Town Alexandria, we would meet every Wednesday at the Court Kelly Recreation Center. And you would come in, and I would always say, did anybody tell you they love you today? And most of them would look at me and say, Pops, no, ain't nobody told me they love me. I said, well, I love you, And so after a while, it started to become a routine. So what I would do is I would then be able to approach them and say, oh, now, come on, man, pull your pants up. You got ladies in here. Or I tell the girls, don't sit like that. Sit like a lady,
Yes.
And I love you. And love is a powerful word to use, and they would really take in and do that. So I'm not sure, but I think we can ready to go into a break, and let me know that you're still there when I come back, because we got some powerful, powerful information to share with you. Hey, PTP, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people.
You know, there is this particular dance that I want to learn how to do. Everybody's doing it. The young and the old, from the north to the south, and from the east to the west. I want to know how to do it. I want to know how to hand dance. Show me how to do it. I want to know, can you teach me? Can you teach me how to hand dance? Can you show me how to do it? I want to know how to hand dance. Show me how to do it. I want to know.
I like the way you move. I like the way you groove. I like the way you groove. I like the way you spin. I like the way you spin. You turn around and you do it again. I wanna know, can you teach me? Can you teach me how to hand dance? I wanna know how to do it. I wanna know how to hand dance. I wanna give it a try. I wanna give it a try. I like the way you move. I like the way you move. I like the way you move. I like the way you hand dance. Show me, show me, show me, show me how to do it. It's about time for me to get on the floor and stop being so lazy. Teach me how to do it. I like the way you move. I like the way you groove. I like the way you groove. I like the way you groove. I like the way you spin. I like the way you spin. You turn around, do it again. Do it again. I get it again. Do it again. Can you believe it? Again and again. I think I almost got it. I wanna know. All over the world, everybody talking about it. I got to know how to do it. I got to know how to do it. Can you teach me? Can you teach me? Can you teach me? Can you teach me how to hand dance? I got to know. I got to know. I want to know how to do it. I like the way you move. I like the way you move. I like the way you groove. I like the way you groove. I like the way you spin. I like the way you spin around. And you do it again. And again. Do it again. I like the way you move. I like the way you groove. I like the way you groove. I like the way you spin. And you do it again. Hand dance. Do it again. I got a hand dance. Do it again. Hand dance. Show me how to do it. I want a hand dance. I want a hand dance. I think you got it now. Hand dance. I got the hand dance. I think you got it. Hand dance.
All right. Here we are back. PTP, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. I just appreciate everybody that's been watching and tuning in. Ms. Rachel, love you, darling. Love you. Hey, but we want to go to a quick commercial real quick. Check this out. We want to talk about Star Imports, right? They are 4711 Author. What's that? Author Place. Okay. Author Place. Excuse me. Cap Springs, Maryland. Okay, this is one of our #1 sponsors. We just wanted to do a shout out to them. I'm gonna get that address better next time. I have a speech impediment when I'm nervous. But we just wanted to shout out to Star Import. We appreciate what they do and how they have been supporting PTP, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. This is a definitely place that you want to come and check out. All you have to do is go to starimport.com and you'll be able to find you some good vehicles. That's for sure. All right. just welcome back. We had earlier Miss Ernstine, who was our guest, and she's a very, very talented lady who do a lot of writing and plays and stuff. And what I wanted to do for the show is to make sure that we would just be able to have some little humor with it. And so we're going to kind of navigate into probably just a little more serious level. I have to my right Miss Alice Williams. Okay.
Hello.
And I'm so glad to have you here.
It's just an honor to be here. Very humbling experience. As a matter of fact, I'm very blessed. I'm very honored that you asked me to be one of your guests. So I'm glad to be here.
That's good. And to my left, I have Miss Tina Carroll. And I actually asked both of these young ladies to come in because I just know them. I know them growing up. I've seen them develop into some powerful, powerful black women. And what I want you to do is, if you would, I'm going to let you kind of, if you would, Miss Williams, kind of start off and just tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. Again, like I said, I'm very honored to be here. It's just a pleasure. I saw this coming years ago, Rodney. I think you know that. Rodney and I have been very good friends for many, many years, and it's just a blessing to see God use you in the way that He's using you. So I just want to just give you a little shout out about that, and very just humbling experience to be here. His wife is out here in the audience, and I also wanted to recognize her as well. It's a pleasure to be here with you as well. So a little bit about me. I'm a native of the DMV, born and raised in Alexandria, Virginia. T.C. Williams High School graduate, 1980. Hey. So proud to be a native here, and I'm proud that you are actually giving back. Like myself, I try to do what I can to give back. I'm very excited about my career and where I'm at today. Growing up in Alexandria, born and raised in Alexandria, Virginia, my parents are still here. Richard and Earlene Williams, some of the greatest parents you can ever known in the city. They raised most of the city Alexandria kids. And so if you ask anybody about Coach Richard, they would tell you, yes, we know him. He was my coach at some point. And it was always known, don't mess with his daughter. So I had that reputation growing up. But anyway, just glad to be here on the show to tell you a little bit about what I do. I recently retired as a federal civil servant from the Department of Defense after 38 years. And
congratulations.
So, absolutely. I'm very, very happy about my career. I started years ago graduating right out of T.C. Williams High School. Back then they had programs designed just to help students start their career. Early on I was a professional model, so I modeled for in my teenage years. But I knew that that would not get me very far. I was a very short model, so I was about 5'1½". So what I did was what they call mannequin or freeze pose modeling. So you can remember the old JCPenney's, Woolworth and Loafers, those places, Sears and Roebuck. I used to be that mannequin stand up on the podium, but I was real. You know, little kids used to come and look underneath my dress and try to make me laugh, you know, all kind of stuff. But that's what I did. But I knew it wasn't a career for me because I was too short. So right out of high school, I was a senior actually in T.C. Williams High School and went right into the federal government as a GS2, believe it or not. And so as a GS2, I kind of worked my way up. I've actually retired as one of the highest ranking African-American females in the Department of Defense, and that was a blessing.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I was. So I actually retired. So I went through the system, GS2, worked my way all the way up, but I didn't do it by myself. And so I had a lot of people that really helped me along the way. As I mentioned before, like my pastor showed me what my gifts were. As an ordained minister, there were people out there, senior level people, that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. So early on, someone told me, you were a leader. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm a leader. But I didn't know exactly what that meant at the time. So about the time I was a GS7, I had a young man who was a senior executive service member, appointee, political appointee, came up to me and said, this job, I was working like a voucher examiner in the Defense Finance Office. And he said, you know, this job is not good enough for you. He said, you're a leader. He said, bring your resume to me. And he said, a week. Give me a week. Give me your resume. And I did. I gave my resume, and before I know it, I was in this very prestigious office. This young lady hired me. Her name was Shirley Downs. She was my original first professional job as a small business purchasing agent, is what they called it back then. And I know nothing about the job, knew nothing about procurement. But at that time, they had a lot of training, which was fortunate for me that the federal government gave me the best training that anyone can ever get. And so they sent me to school, got me certified and qualified in what I did. And before I knew it, I got another job. I was working at Arlington National Cemetery. And while I was there, I was recently married. Just got married, and I was 5 months pregnant with my first child. Very happy. And I got a phone call from a 06, which is a colonel. And this man said, hey, I'd like to speak to Alice Williams. At the time I was Alice Bird. And I said, this is she speaking. He said, your name was given to me. I have a job over here for you. I would like you to come and take this job. And I'm like, sir, I don't think so. I'm just married and 5 months pregnant. I don't need a job. I'm good. My husband was doing very well at the time, had a very good job. Took very good care of me, by the way. I was very blessed that I had a husband that could do that. And I turned the job down, and he called me back and said, no, I want you to have this job. Before I knew it, I took the job. Went on maternity leave, came back. When I came back from that position, he said to me, hey, I want to put you into this director's position. I was like, director's position? And he said, yes. He said, it's the next level up. And at the time, I was very young. I was early 20s. The majority of the people that were working for me at the time was, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I was like, these folks is not going to respect me, sir. I can't take this job. He said, no, you can take this job. So at the GS7, I became GS9 at the time. I started my first director's job, and it was history from there. I never looked back. So for the majority of my whole civil servant career, I was put in a director's position. But most important thing for me is I never had to apply for a job. There were people, I had plenty of mentors. I had multiple mentors who basically ran my career, and they basically said, hey, it's time for you to get in that job, or it's time for you to get in this job, all the way up to the senior executive service member. And I became acting deputy director at retirement for Department of Defense Office of Small Business Programs. So in that responsibility, my job was to manage about 700 employees across the whole Department of Defense, concluded about 700. And also, I ran the socioeconomic program. So if anybody know anything about the socioeconomic program, it's ran by Small Business Administration, congressionally mandated, where we assist minority companies in getting government contracts. So a percentage of the money or the funds that we manage, we have to make sure that the minority contractors or small companies got a part of that business. And so that's what I did. Along came with that was, being a strong leader. I had to do a lot of public speaking, so it required me to travel around the world. So I went everywhere, free on the government. God knew my heart. He knew I wanted to travel, and he knew I couldn't pay for it myself, so he put me in a position where I could. So I was able to travel around the world, public speak all over the place, heavily sought after. People still ask me to come and speak even today, and allow me to be able to make people see their vision come to life. So I made people multimillionaires and billionaires. That was my job. And so every time I had an opportunity to assist someone in getting a government contract, it pleased me, because I know it not only impact them and their families, but it also impact the economy. And so everybody knows when small companies, they hire people, they go out and they get contracts, they hire people. Large companies, they move team A and team B around. So I know it stimulated the economy and also kept the employment rate down. So I always had a pleasure of being able to do that when I was afforded. So I was blessed that I was in a position of persuasion. Mm-hmm. So I influenced a lot of positions, a lot of decisions within the federal government. But that meant that I had to know my craft as well. So I stay very diverse in political decisions, understanding statutes and regulations, working very closely with Congress, knowing the direction of the administration, really understanding how they're maneuvering, and once you understand, it's easy to help people, and so that's what I did. So 38 years in, age 55, I'm 55.
Hey. I wanted to ask you.
Age 55.
I wanted to ask you, so when you first initially started into the work world. How old were you?
When I first originally started working, I started working like I was 13. Do you remember back in the day when the recreation department had the CETA program?
Yeah.
I'm a CETA product. Okay.
Yeah.
And so back in the day, underprivileged children got opportunity to work in the city, and they give them summer jobs. So I started out working with the CETA program with the Department of Recreation, City of Alexandria. But for me, I knew, I'm the middle child of 3 kids. I have 2 siblings, one older and one younger. But for me, being a professional model back then, I knew I liked a nice lifestyle, right? So I like nice stuff. I like very expensive clothes. And I know I could not put that burden on my parents. There's no way I could say, hey, go buy me a nice pair of Valentino shoes. It's not going to happen. And so for me, I knew I wanted to, be able to take care of myself and be able to afford the lifestyle that I like living. But 2, I knew, I had a very, very strong grandmother. I was raised by my grandmother until I was about 7 years old. Parents was there, but I was my grandmother's firstborn, namesaked after her, born and raised on Payne Street where you lived. And she was a very powerful woman. I mean, in her presence and her demeanor, and she wanted the best for me. I was her queen, I was her princess. And so she made sure I had the best of the lifestyle. And then when I was about 7 years old, she passed away of a brain aneurysm. So hypertension, blood pressure runs in the family, and she passed away. And that's my reality kicked in. So now I'm back home with my siblings, being raised by my mother and parents. My parents always been there, but really living in a household with my siblings. It was my brother who was older, my sister who was younger, and then me. We were the best. We were very fortunate that my parents took very good care of us. So even though we were kind of poor, we lived in the projects, we didn't know. Right. We had no clue. You know what I'm saying? We had a nice lifestyle.
That's the one thing I'm glad that you brought it up. I don't want people to assume that, we came from a silver spoon.
No, absolutely.
So we grew up in projects.
Yes. The new projects,
So
Whitman Street. Never forget it.
Ms. Carol,
Yes.
let me ask you real quick, if you can just interject and just give me a little bit about yourself as well.
Okay.
You grew up from Alexandria.
I am from Alexandria, Virginia. Go T.C. Williams. Delray.
Delray,
that's right.
I wound up in Delray.
But I spent a lot of time uptown, down in the projects. My girlfriend lived on First Street, I think it was, closer to the bridge, Monroe Bridge.
Yeah. Sure.
So I spent a lot of time there. Went to GW Middle School and, skipped school a lot. So, I was one of those types that skipped school and always got caught because the principal lived right across the street from us, Mr. Peoples.
Mr. Peoples. Right
across the street.
Yeah.
He would, and how could he walk so fast with that cane?
I don't understand.
And he would catch me and he would say, more. He called me more. Sorry, somebody's phone. But he would say, more. I am going to tell your mother and your father on you. You need to get your butt right back in that classroom. And so I'd still sneak out.
Sure.
But then going out the other door, he would meet me at the other end. So I had to just give in and start going to school. But yes, I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. I live in Upper Marlboro now. And my field is human resources. I always wanted to get into the government, but for some reason I couldn't get in. They always said it's not what you know, it's who you know. I still couldn't get in. So I ended up working for private companies. My very first job was McDonald's, Glebe Road. I was giving away hamburgers like crazy.
That's right.
If you wanted a meal, come and see me at McDonald's. Right. You can have whatever you want. You can get the fish sandwich, you can get the Big Mac, or whatever. But anyway, so I kind of outgrew that. And I always wanted to do something that made a difference. Started off in the administrative field as an executive assistant, then administrative manager. And it was a Caucasian lady that said to me one day, she said, you would be really good in human resources because you have that calm demeanor and you can help people. So I thought, okay, but I'm an introverted person. I don't really want to talk to people. Well, back then, when I started in the HR field, it was processing paperwork, benefits, there wasn't too much about employee relations or conflict resolution or anything like that. It was just, checking on your leave status and things like that. So I thought, okay, I can do this. I can be behind the scenes because I'm an introverted person. So I thought I was. So as years went by, people started coming to me for advice, and I started mentoring. I worked with you a couple of times with the Boys to Books program. Started mentoring people at the nursing homes, and I realized that it was my passion to help people. So a few people said, yeah, HR, that's your thing. And I thought, no, that's kind of boring. But as time grew, human resources has evolved into so many different areas, especially mentoring and building relationships and building companies. And so I decided to go back to school. I had raised my children. I did go for 2 years, but then I went on to get my master's degree in human resource management and business administration. The doors started opening. I, had great jobs. My most recent position before I started my own business was Vice President of Human Resources for a large company in Washington, D.C., overseeing 500 people. And I really enjoyed it, but I was really challenged because I was the only person of color on the senior management team. And they always challenged me, no matter what I did. They wanted to know why did I do it, and what was my strategic plan to fix this and fix that. So as time went on, I noticed that I disclosed some illegal activities that they were doing regarding employees. They were bullying staff. They were taking their money. Okay, well, we will give you a position, or on you don't have to work weekends, but you have to give me $1,000. So things like that. So I disclosed that to the president of the company, and instead of fixing the problem, they decided that they were going to terminate me. Okay, so my husband and I had just came back from Aruba. I went back to work, and the CEO said, you do great work. You're really good. But, we can't afford to pay you anymore, so today is your last day. Wow. So I'm thinking, what? Today is my last day, and I'm Vice President of Human Resources? You're going to do me like that? So they gave me this little severance package. I decided not to take it because I was going to sue. So I went to the EEOC. During that whole time, I became very depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was thinking, how could they do this to me? And then my husband, I couldn't even sleep at night. I would be up all night, trying to watch TV, trying to get myself together. And it was a very traumatic experience. And previously, before then, I had already been dealing with trauma. And, behavioral health is real, especially in the black community.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't want to admit that we have a problem. But we do, because, we've been stereotyped that, okay, we're okay. All we got to do is just, we'll take care of ourselves. But in reality, that's not true. So from starting in 2007, and I don't want to get too much off track, but this is leading up to why I'm doing what I am today. In 2007, my oldest child passed away, and unexpectedly. It was very traumatic for me. I'm the oldest in my family, and he was the oldest of my 4 children. 6 months later, my mom died, unexpectedly, okay? 9 months later, my father died, unexpectedly. 3 girlfriends passed away. This is all in a short period of time. Then my uncle passed away, and the next day, the father of my children passed away, okay? So my children were left without a father, and we had been married for 15 years, and I was devastated. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do, okay? 2016, my brother-in-law died, and then my baby sister died. So that's 10 people in 10 years. How do you deal with that? How do I deal with 10 people in 10 years, people that I love and care about? And and I didn't have a job. I had lost my job. It had been 2 years since I worked, because I realized that I was dealing with not only trauma, but I was dealing with racism, ageism, genderism. They don't want to hire us like that. They just don't. We have to fight. We have to fight to get the jobs that we want. So I had applied for this position, great position, HR business partner for a behavioral health organization. I went on 5 interviews, 5. Oh, you're great. There were 600 people, and it was down to 3, and I was one of the 3. Turns out I did not get that job, and I'm thinking, okay, why did I not get that job? So the talent acquisition specialist, she called me, and she said, you know, I don't know why you didn't get the job, because you were the best qualified for that position. So I came home. I told my husband, I said, I didn't get the job. Now, sometimes it takes for somebody else to see something in you,
right.
as we talked about before.
Right.
I came home, and my husband said, look, do not fill out another application. Don't make another phone call. Don't go online. Don't do any of that. You are equipped. You need to start your own company.
Praise God.
You are equipped. This is what I want you to do. He said, I'll pay for it. I want you to get your federal tax ID number. I want you to get a website. I want you to get some business cards. And I want you to reach out to people. And that's what I want you to do. And I was like, okay, really? Because, you know, sometimes the battle is to convince your spouse or your significant other, okay, I'm not even going to look for another job. I'm going to do my own thing. But I knew that this was something that I was supposed to do, because he was the one that instilled that in me. Thank you, honey, if you're watching. I love you. But he's the one that did this. And before I knew it, the doors started opening.
Praise God.
I've got clients that I'm working with in the behavioral health field. And shout out to the Brownstone Community Health Care Centers, in which I am a partner for the DMV and Director of Human Resources and Operations. We're just opening our doors in the next couple of weeks. So I'm a partner with that company and also with my company, which is called TMC and Associates, LLC. So my website is TMC, and it's TMC Associates, LLC. So what I do is I work with companies in the behavioral health care industry. I do all of the hiring, I do the business development, I help them get accredited from CARF, which is an agency. If you're accredited with CARF, then that means you're a big deal. You have followed all the procedures and policies, and you're in good standing in the field. So that's what I do, business development, you know, conflict resolutions, and things are good. So through my trauma, my traumatic experience, I'm here today, and I just thank God for that.
That's
good.
Yes.
That's
awesome.
That's probably and both of y'all being here and me in the middle. That was the reason why I invited these young ladies. I wanted them to tell them about themselves, because they didn't come out of rich homes and have a silver spoon. What they did is they started from the bottom and moved to different levels. Both of you young ladies now have your own businesses.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually have 2 businesses. Well, actually 3. I'm partnered with another. But I want to talk a little bit about my businesses. I have AMW Concierge. I actually started that while I was in the federal government. I knew for me to build generation wealth, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm trying to build a legacy for my children. I teach my children to be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Their mindset is always thinking about business, you know, how to save money, how to use money. And my thing is money makes money. So there were 2 things for sure that I knew would make money. You know, go out and be your own business owner and real estate. So I do also real estate investment. I actually live at the National Harbor. That's how I got there. I bought dirt when I bought 9 years ago when there was no MGM or Ferris wheel or Gaylord. It was mud. And so I bought back then as an investment property, and I used it as corporate leasing. So I used to allow large corporations transition their employees into the D.C. area. They used to lease my condo. And so that's how I made money. In addition to that, I had a concierge. I have a concierge business that I launched for my children. And I launched that for my children just to show them that, you know, they can do it. And so concierge is very easy. It's a personal service business. Our primary focus is on homeowners associations. So those individuals that sit in condominiums and wait on the residents at the condominium association, such as, you know, waiting for the cable man, mailing off mail, picking up packages. Those are the type of things we do, along with my primary business is with Gaylord. So a lot of their conventions and things that come in, I service their customers. They call me for little things, and we work that way. But when I actually retired from the federal government, I knew what I did in the government. I wanted to take my 38 years of what I did as a civil servant and launch it into industry. One of the needs of the industry is that what I knew right away is being inside the government, I couldn't be as transparent. You know, they told me what to say, how to say it. They gave me canned speeches, you know, kind of direction of the secretary, what the president said. And so I had to follow that. But that wasn't always necessarily the truth to get to people, for people to get to do what they need to do in the federal government, how to maneuver through the procurement system. I'm acquisition certified, level 3. One of the highest ranking in the department. Wow. Why can't I come out and help folks really maneuver through the system? So I came out and I launched AMW Acquisition and Consulting Group, LLC. We're located at the National Harbor. Right now what I do is I assist small companies in advancing through the procurement process. I help them with regulations. I train their BDs. I help with their strategic planning. I help them get in front of key leaderships. I help them understand how to talk, what to say, you know, how to maneuver their process through the whole procurement system. In addition to that, I also do M&A, which is merger and acquisitions. So I help companies buy and sell each other. So we take, I work with some partners on that as well. And what we do is we take, you know, entry-level, what we call 8A companies. Those are companies who get access to sole source contracts in the federal government. Sometimes it's difficult. Government has changed a lot. This new administration running the federal government like a business. And so it's hard to maneuver. You can't go and say, hey, I'm XYZ company and here's my capability statement anymore. You really got to understand how to change or take your company and make sure you understand how it fits into the mission set. And so what I've done is I work with a couple of partners now, and what we do is help 8A, small entry-level 8A companies buy graduating 8A companies. And what they do in turn is they get all their past performance, they get all their contracts, they get access to their tools so they can properly maneuver through the system. So that's working very well. In addition to, we help large companies buy small companies. And so if you can understand government procurement today, the contracts are larger, so they're multi-million IDIQ GWACs or IDIQ contracts. So it helps them be able to get access to the tools and things that they need. In addition to that, I also do capital venture. So I have a couple of partners on the West Coast that I work with where we invest other people's money. And so we do large commercial type real estate. We do new technology, senior homes, you know, any major technology that's around, we help the investors invest their money. So right now I have access to approximately $1.6 billion of liquid cash that I look for ideas. You know, if you have an idea, you bring it to the table. I do an assessment, my partners and I. And my partners is Rock Capital Group. If you know Rock, Rock is a former heavyweight champion of the world. Hassan Rahman from Baltimore, Maryland. Him and Jackie Bustier are both my partners on the West Coast. They do West Coast, and I do over here on the East Coast. So I take those projects to them. We do an assessment of it, and we turn it over to our investors. Our investors take a look at it, and they make a decision whether they want to invest in it or not. So life is good for me. When I came out on 1 April, 2nd April, I launched my business. It was an overnight turnkey situation, trust me.
Wow.
And so I used all the resources that I knew. You know, I went on the internet. I went into corporation.com. They will actually launch your business overnight. So overnight, I was a business. So I used corporation.com and got all my license and things that I need, my LLC and so forth. And then I went there. I launched my own website, did all the necessary paperwork, and I was in business, got me some business cards, and I was in business. What happened to me was very fortunate that I was in business. My business was up and running before I even had infrastructure. So meaning that for my legacy that I left in the federal government, people were waiting for me to get out.
Right.
So, and overnight, my LinkedIn page just blew up. I went into my LinkedIn, I had hundreds of messages like, what is this? And so, you know, people really wanting the service, you know, help me maneuver through this procurement system. And so it was easy. The transition for me was very easy. I still do public speaking. People still ask me to travel around the world and speak about how to maneuver through the procurement system. So I've been very blessed and been very busy. Yes. Very, very busy, nonstop. But the great thing for me today is I get to make my own rules. So I set my own appointments. I get to sleep in if I want. You know, first 3 days when I retired, I woke up and put my clothes on. I was like, oh my God, I'm retired. I have nowhere to go. So it's, in the beginning, it was a real empty feeling because I wasn't for sure, but I knew I had a vision. And so I knew I was going to execute that vision. And I started to put it down in writing. And I wasn't going to do it as quick, but it happened so quick, it was just overnight. And from that, I decided, you know, people always ask me, how you doing? What are you doing? You know, who helped you? I decided, you know, 38 years in the federal government, 38 years, 38 chapters. I'm writing a book called Inside Out, from the inside to the outside, how I got here. And it also will encompass some of my personal life as well. You know, everybody think, oh, you know, it's been easy. Look at her, she's made it. But no one really knows the struggles.
Right.
You know, you got a personal life, too. I'm a single mom. I raised my kids. Had some of the great, you know, I had a great husband, you know. But relationship, my parents, 56 years into marriage. You know, my dream was always, I'm going to get married and be 56 years in with my parents. Well, I'm 55, and I don't have a husband yet.
Well, as we know, hey, there's some guys out there, I know they're paying attention. You know, married, single.
Yes. I don't have a husband yet, but, you know, I'm a God-fearing woman, and so I keep God first. And I know, you know, I celebrate all the time about relationships. And, you know, every time I get into these relationships, I think it's going to materialize to something. And it does. You know, it's something that God has put me in somebody's life for a season. Right. So the one has not come yet, right? So I celebrate every day, and I get excited about, you know, okay, he's gone now, and I'm just going to get more excited because God is really going to bless me with somebody, and I know it's not too late for me. And if he don't, I've had a wonderful life. I really had. I cannot complain at all where I've been and what I've done and the opportunities that I've had. And so for me, you know, it's right down, it's about my legacy. I have 2 beautiful grandchildren, as I said before, and 3 awesome kids. I'm just so proud of my kids. And, you know, what makes them so unique is my kids are business smart. They're some of the smartest kids you can, I mean, important. They can talk politics, they can talk, you know, they're very book smart, but street smart. So I have to always say, hey, what does that mean? You know, when they be Instagramming me or FaceTiming me or Facebooking me, I don't have a clue sometimes what they're talking about, but they keep me hip.
What I want to make sure that a lot of people understand as well is that you can start your own business.
Absolutely can.
It's not about, you know, it's not really that hard to do that. You know, even myself, I got a little history that I'll share. Growing up in Alexandria, I had a neighbor who allowed me to use his lawnmower. And I'm not going to get real deep into it, but I came out of a household that was a little disruptive sometimes. And so
we all come from dysfunctional
family.
Right.
We all experience commercial dynamics. And it was funny. It was funny that, you know, he always told me, he said, yo, you can make money. You know, he let me use the lawnmower. His name is Otis Jones. He's deceased now, but was a real good man, good friend of mine. And I was able to go out and start making money. And then from that point on, I consistently did that. But the point I really want to make here is this. If it's anybody out there, I'm talking young people who want to start your own business, you don't have to wait till you're 40, 50, 60 years old.
Absolutely.
You can start real young.
That's right.
Because for real, that's what y'all was doing a long time ago.
Right.
Y'all were go-getters at a young age.
Right.
And that was one of the things that really excited me when I was thinking about, you know, having y'all.
Yeah, but the thing was, for me, I didn't know it. Like, it just fell in my lap. And so that's why I tell my kids all the time, at age 20, just think you 20. By the time you're 55, you can be a multi-millionaire.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
That's right.
And you do it right. I mean, and it could be little things, just saving pennies. You know?
Yeah.
So I've taught always for years, for 30-something years, 55 years of my life, how long I've been working. I've always saved 10%. And nobody told me, just save it. I gave 10 when I went to church, I did that. But I paid myself too.
Right.
You know, if I'm going to pay bills and mortgage and I like fancy cars, so I buy the best cars. I got to have some savings as well. So I learned how to save. So I learned how to save early, and I start saving 10%. So over, how long, 38 years, 10% of my income went into a savings for myself. And so about the time I retired, I didn't care whether I got a retirement check. I was still set. I was okay. My retirement check is good, by the way.
But so you saying that is something that you want to pick up on. You want. A friend of mine a while back said, learn to save money so money will save you.
Money makes money.
Yeah.
Money makes money. Another thing for me was real estate. And so I got into real estate. When you look at some of the wealthiest people across this world, and I can name many, everybody has some form of real estate in their portfolio.
So that's something that you really should be thinking about.
Right.
You know, again, coming up, we all came up in Alexandria, Virginia. People used to think that was the country. But you remember that.
Yeah, that's because you from VA.
Right.
Exactly.
We going to D.C. We going to Washington, D.C., and they talk about, where you from? And I say, Alexandria, you from the country. Dude, I can walk across the bridge right over here.
But now we can, literally.
Right.
But the good thing was this, growing up in Alexandria, all of our parents was all of our parents.
Oh, yeah.
As both both of your fathers have played a role in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Both of your mothers have, you know, and they knowing my mom and my parents, and that was something, because it didn't matter which side of town you was on, in Delray, Old Town, South Side, down the Bird. It didn't matter. Somebody knew you.
Oh, absolutely.
And somebody would correct you.
That is the strangest thing, because I tell my kids all the time, they always say, Mom, why every time I'm with somebody you ask, well, who is their mother and who is their
Right. Because you want to know. You want to know exactly who they are.
Right.
But that also plays a factor in, you know, what you do moving forward.
That's right.
And one of the things that everybody got to know, again, I plug PTP, people to people. People to people is just like what I just said. Your parents played a strong role in
the community.
In the community,
my parents did, for sure.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it was many times because I know my grandmother, bless her soul, Louise Shepherd. My grandmother was a phenomenal lady in the city, and she did so much for the community. I remember many times just growing up. I remember your mom when she would always get on me. I always had to be a gentleman around your mom because she wouldn't allow me to be nothing
and my
else.
sister too.
Hey, that's right. Oh, her baby sister. Let me tell you, the young lady had a spirit about her that was an old spirit, you know? And when you was in her presence, you always had to conduct yourself accordingly. You would have thought you being the oldest would have been like that, but she was.
Yeah.
And even, and see, the funniest thing is, in a way, I guess anybody grew up in Alexandria would know that we all are like family in one way or another, because your brother is and always have been a very, very good friend of mine.
Very good friend.
You know, your dad, when he was coaching, you know, Mr. Richard.
Right.
Okay.
He didn't play.
He didn't play. So she wasn't joking when it came down to it. Mr. Richard was not to be played with, and your mom was everybody's mama.
Yeah, my mother was.
You know, Miss Earlene.
Yes, she is.
You know, this was just funny, but I said all this to say that, you know, I want people out there to know this. You know, anything that you can conceive, you can achieve.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, and y'all are prime examples of this, because both of y'all had different struggles in your life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I've seen both of y'all develop into some very, very powerful black females. And I'm just really excited about that. I was sharing that with my wife when we were talking about having this to come together. My wife wanted to know exactly who was going to be the first guest. And when I told her, you know, of course, she wants to understand, okay, what it's about. And then I explained to my wife the history of both of you.
Yes.
You know, and then she understood. She was like, hey, okay, I see where you're going. And it's to empower people. I want people to know, people to people is us, right?
That's right.
Power to power is what y'all do.
Yes.
You know, what y'all doing now.
Yes.
Y'all are really, really being in your own, like you said, you wake up when you wanna. You too. And I can't wait till I can do it too.
It's
You know,
a blessing.
you know.
Shots.
Get on a plane when I want.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And matter of fact, I remember the other day when I called you, I was like, did I wake you up? And you was like, yeah, but it's all right. I just take my time. I was like, okay, all right then, Ms. Alice, you know. But that's what you want to strive for.
Yeah.
Right. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
so when you start looking at it, and I shared this story with you when I decided to retire at age 55. Typically, people stay in the federal government 60, 70, even longer. I told my mother, both of my parents are retired civil servants as well. And so they retired and they went home and they retired, right? Mm-hmm. And so my mother kept on saying, you're not going to retire? I said, yes, ma'am, I'm going to retire. And she said, what are you going to do? You got a great job and travel around the world. Mm-hmm. I said, yeah, but I'm more marketable on the outside. So for me, I already knew my worth, right? Yes. So I did what I had to do to get where I needed to be. But God had a bigger plan for me, right? And so I knew I had to get out. The decision for me was easy. The hard part was leaving the people behind that I was mentoring. You know, a lot of folks looked up to me in the department. I brought a lot of people along the way, and I still mentor them. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was greater than just that, right? And it's what God wanted me to be. Like, I knew for years that I was going to be in a position of authority and of power, and that I was going to be able to speak to the masses. And so now that he has me out here, it still is not about just, you know, being able to make wealth, legacy, and that's very important too. But it's also about being able to give back and doing God's will. Yes. And so every time I get an opportunity, I'm talking about his good will. Mm-hmm. So it's just not about me. I take no responsibility for who I am and what I am today. I give it all to God. But my mother had told me, no, you're not going to retire. And I was like, yeah. And so for us, that was good enough for them because that's how they were trained. Right. You get a job, you go to work every day, and you retire, and that's it, right? No, we're born to do more than just that.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship. I mean, you know, everybody, you know, other races do it. Why not us?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of gifts. You know, I see a lot of people, and I encourage people. You got a vision, you got a dream, start your own business. Figure out what that is. Mm-hmm. It's easy. There are a lot of people that help people. Mm-hmm. Somebody help me, right?
And you know what else? This is the year of the woman. I think that women are going to be so empowered. I think we're going to rule the world soon. I'm telling you.
Well, I always said,
I'm just, you know,
I always said that, you know, I give women a lot of credit. Mm-hmm. You know, my brothers out there, please don't get mad at me. But I just keep it real. The women in this country, the black females have held it down for us for so many years. And let me say this too. You was talking about starting your own business and stuff. And I remember when I went to my mom and I told my mother about Photo Time and Production. I opened up a studio in Delray on Mount Vernon Avenue. My family looked at me and it was like, you know, they always look at me like, what are you doing now, you know? But I did. It was a little shack. I talked to the gentleman. He allowed me to pay him $300 a month, and I went in there and did the work myself and then opened up a studio. At that time also, my kids... my oldest son had got into a singing group, and they were doing very well. Mm-hmm. And then my daughter, she decided that she wanted to be a rapper. And so I tried to be a good dad and say, okay, let me see what I can do to help. And she started moving in that direction. And that's what made me go into the direction where I did when I started taking Photo Time and Production outside of photography, but going into the music business. And I remember going to my mom one time and I said, Mom, get ready to do a show. And she said, you get ready to do a show? And she said, you going to do it? I said, yeah, Mom, I'm going to do a show. And I honestly didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. What I did is, because of the people that I knew in Alexandria, I talked to a few people, and then I had skills to create different things like tickets and posters and things. So I started doing that. They allowed me to sign a contract with them, told me how much I had to come up with, and I started to put the stuff together, networking in the community. And next thing I know, we had the show. I remember I went to my mom, I said, Mom, you can bring somebody with you. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a car pick you up. And my mom had no idea that it was going to be a limo.
Oh, wow.
You know? Nice. And when she looked out, it was a limousine sitting out there for her. And I'm telling you this story to say this. Anything that you put in your mind, you can do. Absolutely. I didn't have any money, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to help people along the way. So when my mom got in that limousine and came down to the Lee Auditorium in Alexandria, and she got out and walked in, and that place was packed, and people was calling out PTP, PTP. You know, she sat there, she had a smile on her face later to say, "You really did all that?" And I was like, "Yeah, Ma. That's because I believed in me."
Yeah.
Not being self-centered, but I believed in what I wanted to do. And that's what for anybody out there. That's one of the things that we got to do, all of us. Any young person out there that want to do something, know that all you have to do is just put one foot forward. And if you got God in your life when you do it, He'll do the other foot. Yeah, okay, a lot of times He's not even on the ground because He'll be carrying you all the way. But I wanted to say that, you know, looking at both of y'all have your own businesses today, this is a prime example. You used to run through the projects? You used to run through the projects? I used to run through the projects too. Right?
We did.
But we didn't let that stop us.
No,
and what I'm saying is there's many people who are out there that you have dreams. Follow your dreams. Yeah, like you said, your parents say you shouldn't retire. But you did,
I did.
and now what you doing? You got your own business, and you're waking up when you want to, and still able to do the things that you want to do, traveling and so forth, and so on as you as well. What I'm so excited about, and that was that y'all have done things to let us know that it's still hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, and we have the opportunity to move forward and just open doors for other people. So with your business, I already claimed the success, and with your business, I claimed,
Thank you.
you know,
Praise God for that.
and with everything that's going on with PTP, you know, this was the first show. It's coming to a close shortly. I just want people to know this. I believe in you. I want you to believe in us, so we can move forward. This is something that we all have to know. Anything that you can conceive, you can achieve it.
That's right.
You know, and these are two ladies sitting on the side of me are prime examples. It's nothing wrong with what our parents was going through, because if they didn't know, they didn't know.
Right.
But we know.
Right.
And what we're doing now is preparing. You know, like I said, I have 6 grandchildren. All I think about is that somewhere along the line, Home Depot started just like a conversation in Walmart and these things. And these people, now we running, taking care of their grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so forth on. We could do the same thing.
Yes, we can.
You know, and it's all about us empowering each other.
That's right.
We have to get to a point where we network and we focus in a positive way, giving positive information. People to people, that's us dealing with each other.
Yes.
Power to power, the power that's like this, where we're talking about individuals like our sponsor, right? Okay? I'm telling you, this is what we're talking about that makes the difference. And I'm going to tell you, when we get in these positions and we move forward, we have to do this collectively. Do not get to a point, and I don't, sometimes I really want to watch how I relay a message. You know that the world is so big.
It is. It's enough for everybody.
It's enough.
Yeah.
It's something else I want to share. I told my oldest son this. I said, travel. Try to get to a point where you got to go outside the bubble. Because when you go outside the bubble and you see different things, it's going to give you a different perspective on things. And when he finally started going outside the country and doing these things, boy, sometimes some of the conversation that I would have with me, share with me, he'd be like, "Dad, man, I'm so glad you told me that." And I would tell anybody, don't get complacent and get stuck in the
You have to be
city.
mobile and take
Right.
sacrifices. I did. I had
Yes.
to sacrifice. I left. I transitioned for 3.5 years to Huntsville, Alabama. I left a 15-year-old child here with his dad, right? I left my child. I missed a lot of first games, first everything. And so I had to transition there to move ahead. They asked me to go to Huntsville to stand up an organization for 12 months. And I said I would do it. They said, "We'll pay you, make it worth your while." And they did. And they told me to bring me back in 12 months. Leadership changed. They closed down the D.C. office. I had nowhere to come back to. So I wound up being in Huntsville for 3.5 years. But I got another opportunity. I was out there searching. Again, somebody came to me, offered me an opportunity. It took me to Aberdeen Proving Ground. an hour and a half drive, 15 months back and forth from the National Harbor. But I took it to get myself back to the Pentagon.
Yes.
I finally got back to the Pentagon 2.5 years later. I retired. But so my point to you is, you have to be mobile. Sometimes you have to take some sacrifices.
Right.
You have to do
Some
that.
risks.
Some risks. Right. I left my child, and he didn't have no understanding of that. But I got on a plane every weekend. I saw him. I made it to his games. But I had to do it for them. I had to do it for my kids. And today, I'm here. I get the opportunity. My daughter say, "Hey, Mom, I need you to babysit." I'm retired, right?
Right.
So I can sit at home, take care of my grandkids, and still get a check.
Well, that's a lesson for all of you.
That's right.
To know that if you put the work in,
Yes.
that it all comes
It will pay off.
It will pay off.
That's right.
We getting ready to come to a close. I really, really, again, appreciate both of y'all coming out.
Thank you.
Miss
Thank you so much.
Erstine.
Yeah, she was awesome.
She was awesome. I appreciate her. Remember, she's going to be performing this weekend. Also, remember that it's my birthday coming up this weekend.
Happy early
birthday.
Yes.
And we just want to thank Star Import for allowing us to come in and do what we do. Our engineer, Mr. Ron, I know he didn't think I was going to shout him out, but I'm definitely going to do that. Thank you so much.
Good engineer.
This is PTP, People to People, Power to Power, Positive Thinking People. Tune in every Tuesday, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. I know, you're going to see we're going to have to tweak it up, but hey, hang in there with me because we are going to grow together. This is a positive thing. I really, really thank you so much,
you.
Miss Carol.
Thank you.
You're a blessing.
It's been a pleasure.
And I'm just honored to have you.
Thank you.
And Miss Williams.
Absolutely. It's been
hey,
a blessing.
Hey, and like you say, hey, we got things to do, places to
right.
go, and I'm reaching
People
for
to
the
see.
stars. We'll see you.
Good night.
Good night.